What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I really do hope you guys are well. Thank you for joining me for yet another video. This is of course a video relating to Dungeons and Dragons Online. As many of you know that have been watching this channel for a little while, you will know that I physically cannot escape the clutches of this game at the moment. It's a shame because it's become apparent to me only now, after all of these years of this game being around, that this game is what I've been searching for a long time, and I'm hopefully going to go into majority of that in this video. Before we get stuck in, please do consider leaving a like, rating and subscribe, and it helps both me, my little channel grow, and of course the awareness of Dungeons and Dragons Online, as I make exclusive content for that and Lord of the Rings Online only. So if you like what you're hearing and like what hopefully you're seeing, then by all means stick around. There were two huge components of this game that really struck me when I first started playing, outside of the class fantasy, outside of the combat, outside of all of that. Number one is the atmosphere. The atmospheric detail and feeling in this game is second to none, and we're going to go into the reasons why. Number two is the dungeon and world building. I truly believe this. I don't know if I've played another title like this, perhaps in the MMO space, that does instances as well as DDO. Yes, Lord of the Rings Online has some fantastic open world instances, but again, these are two very different games, so I will be leaving those to the side. But as far as something that is on a similar rail line and similar platform as DDO, there are not many games that I can think of that come to mind that do it this well. I guess, where do we start? I think it's only fair to start with the atmosphere. And what do I mean by atmosphere? Well, I guess the first real sense of atmosphere you get is when you enter a tavern. Okay, I've always loved the idea of a tavern. I've loved the idea of grouping up with people, all meeting at the tavern as you would in a traditional sense, whether you're going out and looking for work, or you're going out to sort of meet people and pick up quests, or just generally have some downtime between what you're doing. And I love the fact that this game really incentivizes socializing in a tavern. I'm not sure if loads of people do it, but it's certainly something I really enjoy. I love the ambience and the atmosphere of the tavern. You can hear roaring chatter in the background. You can hear plates sort of clinking against cutlery. You can hear the kitchen doors like sort of slinging open. You've got bards, for example, in the background, just sort of playing like a really harmonious tune. It just feels really like warm and hearty, and just, even if you've had the worst experience ever in a dungeon or an instance and you've come away from that, you can come back here and just relax, and I really love that. There are so many instances that you'll actually meet really interesting people in these taverns as well, which build the atmosphere. There's NPCs, I think it's, I don't know the name of the place yet, the location, but there is like another tavern, I think around the level 5 to 6 range. I want to say like House Deneth, potentially something like that. I've probably slaughtered that. And you go in there and there's 4 adventurers around a table, and they've all got different quests, but in a similar sort of, I think it's called the Depths Run or something like that. There's all like 4 quests locked to 4 different instances. And one guy you speak to, he's like, oh yeah, if you want a quest, just go and get 10 rat tails, mate. No problem. And then you're like, oh, like really? And he's like, no, like I'm totally kidding. Like, this game is so aware. It's so self-aware of the stereotypical run here, kill said thing 10 times, bring 10 pieces of that said thing back. This game really does just get it. It just understands the mockery of MMO, menial task, collect 10 rat tails. That is hilarious. And I love the fact they've built that into the NPCs, because it makes the NPCs feel so much more alive and tangible, and therefore really adds to the atmosphere. You know, these people look like a group of people around a table, having a drink, having a bite to eat between quests, and just generally having a laugh. And I love the fact that they're all sort of forming a party, which of course is the general demographic and the purpose of the game. And it really brings that sense of camaraderie together, and I really love that. Outside of the many taverns, you've got people in the streets, they're all doing different tasks. NPCs, they're all tasked with different trades that they've got. For example, soldiers that, you know, stereotypically they've got a name above them that says soldier or guard. They are doing exactly that, but they're not just static. Many of them will actually gesture to you. They'll move their swords in a way that either lets you through or doesn't let you through a certain entrance. People look busy. Towns look busy. The streets are littered with things that are going on. There are people working on the ports and within the markets, and it just really does wonders for this game to just feel alive, tangible. Even if the player population completely dies out in this game, I will absolutely hold my hands up and say I would happily carry on playing this as a single player game, because you just feel so involved. Now here's where the atmosphere absolutely ties in with our second point, which is the dungeon and world building. When you start entering instances for the first time, there is a drastic change in pace, in dynamic, in feeling, whether that be visual, whether it be audible. Even some of the beginner quests, the beginner instances, is a real change in tone. You know, you are very aware that if you're a new player, you're going to be entering the unknown for the first time. You know, you don't know what you're going to run into, and yeah, you don't know if you're going to spend the rest of your time, you know, potentially getting decapitated. Oh my god, I nearly got decapitated. Or running away from bloodthirsty spiders. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, that was called misery. What is that? Maybe nearly falling off a ledge every now and again. Right, okay, so to go. Oh, you bastard, don't scare me like that. Oh my god. And all kinds of other crazy stuff that you get up to. You just don't know. You don't know where your adventure will take you, and it really, really does set that pace early on. It's also incredibly clever the way that the game translates this visually, because there is a drastic, depending on obviously what instance, but there is a drastic visual change. A lot of the sewers are, of course, gloomy. They're, of course, dark. You can hear sort of drips and like droppings of water, and you can hear little critters and stuff scurrying around. It's more, you could close your eyes and you could almost play the game audibly, which I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy that. I love that attention to detail. I also kind of really enjoy how things start to ramp up quite a lot as well, even early on. You know, when you start to get out to, I believe it's the Cerulean Fields, and you come across, I think it's a farmhouse from what I can remember. I don't fully know the terminology, guys, so you guys that have played it forever, please excuse me. But one quest that really stood out to me, which, by the way, I've played loads of games for hundreds, thousands of hours, and I don't even recognize many of the quests, but I could recite some of these quests in pure detail, and this farmhouse quest is one of the ones that sticks in my mind. You enter and approach this I guess it's like a farmyard or like a old barn, and you go in and it's quite apparent straight away that things really are not what they seem at all. You've got a lady that's just sat in a chair just babbling nonsense to herself. You've got, you know, old sort of like decrepit wood. You've got cobwebs that have just become the most common decoration in the house. Some of the furniture's worn down, and you get a real sense of like, okay, like what's going on here. And as the story unfolds, you get to know about the daughters and how one's held in higher regard than the other, and ultimately how that unfolds. But as you start exploring this house, you know, there are real sinister things that you come across, like, for example, one of the daughters living in the loft who has welcomed in a pet crow that sort of flies through one of the broken windows at the top to keep her company. She then eventually comes here and joins the gatekeepers, and this, basically, from what I can work out, this horrible curse just gets laid upon this family. The dad's a raging alcoholic. It's real dark themes, you know. The dad's a raging alcoholic. They're super proud of one of their daughters, but not so proud of the other one. And then I guess one of their daughters gets cursed or something and comes back and just like kills the other one. But there's all sorts of like crazy shit happening in the garden. There's like everything's dying and dead. There's undead there. I think the dad turns undead.
You emerge into the hot air and find yourself on the back porch. You use the scythe to cut down the bamboo that is sprung up around the back porch. Before you stretches an overgrown wasteland, the remains of the family's crop field. You pause, struck by a headache, as a cold voice sounds around you. Come here, Lily. You find yourself in a dingy root cellar. A mangled voice snarls at you from the shadows. Lily, is that you? Get out! Sage Hargrove roars.
Like, I'm just like, whoa, like, this is really dark. Like, 5 minutes ago, I was just, like, in a field, you know, just killing a brown rat. And now I'm here looking at ghosts and stuff, you know. So, really, really interesting, like, straight away. And also, not to forget, I'm pretty sure one of these quests around this area, you enter into a mine, like an old mine shaft, and everything's really, like, you know, collapsing on itself. And surface level, it just looks like, oh, okay, there's something wrong with, like, the heat, there's some, like, gas leaks and whatever. And as you start chipping away, and you're chipping away down these, like, layers and layers of this mine, it becomes very apparent that there is something way more present here, and it's a magma brute, right? And this is the first enemy in the game which killed me. I think it was on hard. I think it was hard. It was the first enemy that I dropped down, and I was like, okay, like, this could be a challenge. And he, like, smoked me. I was taking fire damage constantly. I was playing this character now, my cleric, and I just remember taking this descent, this spiral, you know, down into the depths. And there are so many highlight moments for these fantastic dungeon building experiences, and I want this to kind of come out as a bit of like a blurt of words, because I feel it's important to capture the raw feelings of someone experiencing this for the first time. And one of the most exciting moments, which captures everything that I'm talking about right now with the atmosphere in the dungeons, one of the most exciting moments for me right now, as someone who is playing through this and updating you guys bit by bit, is playing through the level called the Temple of Elemental Evil. There are so many enemies in this temple that you've not seen before, right? They're doing damage that you're not familiar with. You're basically exploring environments that you've never been into before. Everything's so dark, the visibility is really limited. And what I love about it is the way that it's designed is you go around in like it's almost like a spiral, you know, and there's like, I think there's like 3 or 4 mini bosses in each area. But the atmosphere, the ambience, the music, basically the encounter design. There's the person that I pied with, like, thank God for them, and they knew what they were doing. But there were so many mechanics that it was just impossible to work out on my own what I was doing. Like, there's one fight right at the end where there's some elementals that spawn, and each elemental spawns on basically the same element that they spawn as, and you have to take them out of that element to be able to do damage to them, which is something that I never would have worked out. And then right as you get to the end, there's this giant, like, spider-looking boss thing that I had no idea what it was. And I was like, oh my god, I was like freaking the fuck out. And you kill that, and then the guy, the all-encompassing guy that you've come here to kill, he just spawns, and like he spawns on a ledge, he's like shooting spells at you and stuff. I'm like, wow, this is like peak amazement for me. Okay, well, here goes absolutely nothing. I have no expectations. I've got no idea what I'm about to walk into.
Really free.
I'm knocked down. Oh my god, this is not going well. This is beyond terrible. Ah, I see. So we've got to bring like Rubble Boy over here to do damage to him, right? Out of the water.
Take care of that.
Oh! Oh! No, what is it? Oh dear. Jesus. Oh, it's awful.
I'll just have to crush you myself.
Okay. Well, I think that went quite well. I was like, this is so cool. But even backtracking before that, you get to this like fire area. I guess it's like Temple of Fire. I guess that's what it's called. And you interact with this NPC, and he's like, you know, you can pay or like donate to blah blah blah, whatever he's talking about. And dude, all of a sudden there's like a fire salamander, this giant snake-looking thing that just pops out of nowhere.
Come in, follower of flame, a stern voice echoes. You're just in time.
Healing. Just keep healing. Just keep healing. I'm stuck. I'm all kinds of stuck right now. I have no idea how I just survived that. And I'm like, wow. Like, I'm taking so much damage, but I'm having, like, the best time. It just keeps surprising you. And I know a lot of this is, like, if you're a new player, you're only going to experience it for the first time. But it's just, I can imagine if you get a dedicated group, like, for example, if I do wonder to myself, how would this game have played in its prime? You know, with a busy player base, you know, everyone on, you know, back, I don't know, this game came out, what, 2006-ish? So when this game was really popular, I can imagine all this stuff was incredibly good. But if you got a party together, I can see why people still raid in this game. Coming away from some of the higher end stuff, there is a mission that I remember doing, and it's clear as day. It's called Spies in the House, I believe. And this mission is purely about avoiding traps. It's like you start, I believe, at the bottom and sort of work your way up to the top is the whole premise. But, you know, you're greeted straight away with absolutely no respite. You're straight into the water, you swim down, you've got spikes coming up into your face, you've got sonic jets coming out of the wall. Once you get out of, like, onto dry land, you've got archers and stuff that are shooting at you in the water. This is probably one of the first dungeons that I've actually genuinely really needed to rest multiple times. Like, this is insane. I really don't think I'm supposed to be doing Spies in the House on my own. Providing you survive that, you've then got, like, steam that blows you back in the wrong direction, makes you take full damage. Then you realise that you need to use the steam to get to kind of where you need to be. But it doesn't stop there, because there's mechanical wheels on the wall that you need to turn to allocate kind of where you want the steam to be to push you in that direction. And while sometimes it is a little bit janky, you're climbing all of these platforms and these pipes, trying to get to these different higher areas. And with every step and with every climb, it gets more and more dangerous. Wow, that's really cool. So this wheel controls the direction of steam at the top here, if I'm right. So if I jump... Oh my god, it does, dude. Yo! Yeah, the platforming in this game is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Yes, it's a little bit clunky because of the service, but there's just so much to do. And then all of a sudden your inputs become, I don't know, like you put a bit more thought into it, you know, and it just builds this sense of real, not fear, but like you're very aware that you could die at any moment. And then when you get to the top, seeing that like flourish of light that appears over your head when you complete the quest, knowing that you've like basically just skimmed through by the skin of your teeth, is just fantastic. Oh, thank God. Holy XP. Oh my God, so much XP. I'm fully aware that this might just seem like a complete ramble, right, to someone that's new to the game. And I'm fully aware this game has its flaws. But right now, for what I'm looking for in an MMO, this game just does wonders for me. It really does. I just, again, I've said it before, but I really wish I'd discovered this years ago. And people are so helpful. The people that I've met in this game are absolutely second to none. You know, I joined a guild quite early on. I didn't just want to join like a random one. People were kind of messaging me and we were talking back and forth. They were telling me about guild buffs, how to get like extra bags, how to monitor my reputation with NPCs, what sort of things to look out for, what feats that I'm looking for, skills, that sort of. People have just been really nice. The help's there when you want it, and the help isn't there when you don't want it. And that all builds into the atmosphere too. I guess it's important to note that the people in this game are wicked. They're really good people. You know, this game doesn't have a massive population, so the people that are playing it, they want to retain those people, you know, look after those people that are coming into the game. But yeah, if you guys see this video, if you've not played DDO at all, or you've not played it in a while, then you know, either come on back or give it a chance, because there is something really truly special here, and I'm having an absolute blast playing it, that's for sure. For those of you that got to the end of the video, thank Thank you so much for watching. Please do consider leaving a like, rating, and subscribing for more DDO stuff. For those of you that want to potentially support a little bit further beyond just a sub, then by all means you can subscribe to the Patreon for just £1 Great British Pound. That does indeed help me, helps keep the dream alive, keep the videos coming. So thanks again, guys, and take care.